night through Papua New Guinea, and welcome to this week's episode of Sports Scene. It's always great to have your company. We're back again with another great show, and I'm joined by Miss Dini Rose Raiko. Dini, how's it going?
It's going great.
Yes, I heard over the weekend you were out at sea.
Yes, I was. I went for the Vanagi race, launch of the Vanagi race by the Motu Koita assembly.
And it's good to see you back in one piece. I heard that you almost drowned, but it's okay.
I had a life jacket on.
So, good on you. So good that you're here now on the show. We'll have that story coming up later on.
Later in the show.
This is also what we have coming up in the show. And we have all that and more coming up later in the show, but tonight we kick off with PNG football, and the PNG men's football under-18 squad left on Tuesday morning to attend the first edition of the OFC Youth Development Tournament in Vanuatu.
Now, PNG is among 5 other teams, and they have been placed in Group A with Estonia and Tahiti. Group B consists of host Vanuatu, New Caledonia, and India. They play their first match today against Tahiti.
UEFA has reached out to the Oceania region to encourage youth development, and one activity has been the Youth Development Tournament. The OFC organizes the Under-16 and Under-19 regional tournaments that PNG also takes part in. For this tournament, an invitation was sent to PNG to participate in the first edition.
In OFC, we have Under-16 and Under-19 tournaments. Those are our regular events. Under-18 is not in our plan of activities, including the women. So this is an invitational from UEFA to encourage youth development in the region. And so we had to come back from Pacific Games and quickly work around. After we send the Pacific Games team away, we had to quickly get around to look for the boys, so to speak.
Coach Anthony Pakakota says one big challenge they face is preparation time. He says the team has the potential to do well and can go a long way as they aim to use this tournament as preparation for the OFC Under-19 competition next year.
Whilst there's challenges of preparing the teams, but the external support is important. Like Sim, all support externally with the blessings of PNGFA, and we prepare. So next year, time we are ready. So it's not an 8 weeks preparation. We've prepared for almost a year. So we go there, we do well.
The squad is mostly made up of players who attended the Under-17 World Cup qualifiers last year, with only a few new players added. The team has been training for the past 4 weeks and have mostly worked on their structural play.
Last year we almost made it. We just had to beat New Zealand, but we lost 4-3 after leading 1-0. And that game gave a lot of us a belief that this group of boys that we have, plus many more in the pool that we trialed last year, we have the potential. Now, if we start early, I think we can go to 2026. It's not just a dream.
Papua New Guinea has been drawn in the same group with Tahiti and Estonia in Group A, while Group B is made up of New Caledonia, India and host Vanuatu. They will be facing teams from East Asia and Europe and played their first match against Tahiti and the second against Estonia.
So we're playing Tahiti first game and then Estonia. Tahiti, we didn't play them last year. They're the same lot of boys that were more or less there last year. They were in Pool B while Midland instead of Pool A. So, but Tahiti will always give us a tough game like they always do, whether it's our senior men's team, the senior couples, or our youth team, men or women, the Tahiti especially, the men's, they always give us a good challenge. So we've been preparing well for that, for both games, for Tahiti and Estonia. We know very little of Estonia, but we are preparing for them as well.
During their farewell on Monday night, former senior men's captain David Muta had some words of encouragement to the team.
We play plan now, we logo play, and game plan coach by Kim. Then we play guys. I always believe in game plan, so what's me play. Once I'm coach talking me or saying, you play like this a role play, holding midfield. You know I'm going to play striker. Me but play holding midfield and go and have game plans. But we looking at space, look out but no one. What is this? Game plan, coach talking. So coach talking him something you make him. Or coaches people. People are bane him, but you work extra hard. And don't give up too easy. You start in on him, you run back. You run forward. You start to keep on going, no one stop. Because you know my almost a million man there, all get the future, little or soccer star, or big or man, some people will be finished or soccer line over there. You play carry for lemon, you stop playing.
You all be smiling to travel tomorrow. So when you come back with the same smile. No can come one time head go down. Me no talk diplomas win. Me no talk diplomas lose. But diplomas, how much over time you play?
Go and enjoy the game on the field. That's the only way you're going to come to the field satisfied, if you go and enjoy it. Okay? And it's not only the 11 players on the field that will make a difference. Those of you sitting on the side in the on the bench, you're just as important as the 11 on the field.
This is the first edition of the OFC Youth Development Tournament, with 6 teams being invited to participate in the cross-confederation event. The Under-18 tournament is being organized with UEFA through UEFA Assist program, with the focus not on winning a title, but on the development aspects an international event can provide.
While we are going there to compete, we are going to compete, but we are also there to learn as well, both for players and coaching team as well. So thank you for this opportunity, and we look forward to take this trip on and do the best of our and play our best for the country in those coming 2 days tournaments.
Interesting updates there from the Under-18 football team. Elijah, you've been covering it. What are some of the things that you would like to tell us more about in regards to the team going over to Vanuatu?
So the core of the team was part of the they played in the Under-16. They were in the Under-16 squad, that took part in the Under-17 World Cup qualifiers last year. And they actually did really well, though losing to New Zealand in the semi-finals. They lost 3-4, even though leading 1-0. But this core of players and this group of young, talented players are the future of PNG men's football in the country. And
it's good to see that they've taken the time to develop them from these different competitions as they come up to with the Under-18 squad that made up the team that left for Vanuatu. All the best to the guys. We'll go for a short break now, and when we come back, Sports In continues.
Into hockey now, and PNG Hockey Federation will send a team of 18 hockey players, 9 men and 9 women's team to attend the 2019 Oceania Hockey Championship in Queensland, Australia in September. The team is made up of some of PNG's best hockey representatives who will play in the Fives tournament. The tournament is also a qualifier to next year's 2020 Tokyo Olympics in Japan.
Mentor and coach Pokiet Manoi says training for both teams is crucial, especially with this year's Oceania Hockey Championships, to be used as a qualifier to next year's 2020 Tokyo Olympics.
This is a qualifier because the Australian and the Kookaburras and the Plastic, I think they qualify for Japan Olympics, and we hope that this Super 5 will qualify for the Pacific Islanders for the Japan Olympics in 2020.
Manoi says PNG will play this game hard in order to make the finals. He says PNG will play against some of Oceania's best, especially Fiji, who currently holds the Oceania title. He says both teams need to finish on top in order to attend the Olympic Games.
The preparation of the team is composed of 9 girls and 9 boys. And the 9s are 5 goals in and 4 goal interchange. All the teams are participating are from the Pacific Islands, Fiji, Vanuatu, Solomon, Tonga, and Samoa. To show their case in the Super 5 World Cup. We need to be at the top to qualify to represent the Oceania.
Vanuatu, Solomon Island, Tonga, and Samoa will also equally compete in the qualifiers.
All the teams are participating are from the Pacific Islands, Fiji, Vanuatu, Solomon, Tonga, and Samoa. To show their case in the Super 5 World Cup.
PNG will take its top 18 players, 9 men and 9 women, to attend the Oceania Hockey Championships, which is also a qualifier to next year's 2020 Tokyo Olympics. The city of Rockhampton in Queensland will host the 2019 Oceania Championships. The tournament will commence on the 4th of September and finish on the 8th of September.
To some corporate sport, and steamships and its divisional employees had a successful sevens competition over the weekend in Port Moresby. Now, over 150 participants took part in rugby sevens and touch footy. The Chief Operating Officer, Rupert Bray, also a certified referee in both codes, took off the work shoes and grabbed the whistle to officiate the games.
Sevens rugby has been in the steamships calendar for the past 25 years, with women's touch footy introduced recently. Steamships has been in Papua New Guinea for 100 years and for the past 25 years shown its commitment to the sport of sevens. Good rugby sevens and touch footy action displayed by the divisional employees from steamships. Newcomers to the competition included Pacific Towing and Colgate.
Steamships agencies, and we've got 8 teams in the women's touch football and 10 in the men's rugby sevens. You know, it's a pretty good number for us this year. So we have 18 teams. It's a lot for the tournament director, Paul Joseph, to manage, but he does it really well. Sequences all the jaws, so everyone gets an even number of matches. Good experience out on the paddock. And from year to year, they just keep learning and growing and getting better and better, such as the example for 2019.
The steamship sevens ended on a high note despite wet conditions on Saturday at Bava Park. The final saw Shwaya Taiku dominate the field in the first half of the game against East West Truckies to take out the Managing Directors Cup. In the women's side, it was an exceptional win for STC Corporate, coming out the reigning champions for the Managing Directors Cup against East West Truckies.
Initially, this started off as the Steamship Sevens, and then in the last, since 2016, it's involved into the Steamships Intersports Games because they wanted the inclusion, they wanted gender equity, so we brought mixed teams in for netball and softball, and then we've got today's men's rugby sevens and touch football for the ladies. And so the bondings that they have on and off the field, it's really visible and it's really clear. When they first used it, it was just, talk, that's all. But then as the games progressed and the relationships were developed on the paddock and off the paddock, it just enriched the whole company. And they've just gone from strength to strength every year.
It was good to see Chief Operating Officer of Steamships, Rupert Bray, refereeing a couple of games, including the finals. Rupert is a World Rugby certified referee in Singapore and has refereed 15s and 7s matches all over Asia. Rupert is also a qualified touch rugby referee and coached both contact and touch in Singapore.
More than 25 years now, we've been doing the competition. Touch came in for the ladies a couple of years ago. Steamship's all about getting the girls playing as well as the lads. So very important to us that we have both the men and the ladies playing. We also have our sister company, Swire Shipping, and our joint venture, Colgate Palmolive, playing as well. So just under 160 players today. Well, we've been here in PNG for 100 years, so we'll want to be carrying on this tournament for at least another 25 and on into the future.
Aiden Towa, who plays for the Japanese team Honda Heat, presented the awards, including a signed Australian Rugby Sevens jersey, to the player of the tournament for both the men and women's category. Aiden previously played Super Rugby for the Queensland Reds and ACT Brumbies. His usual position is fullback. Aiden Towa is also the son of Steamship's General Manager for Corporate Affairs, David Towa.
to the show. You're watching Sports Scene, and now you may be wondering, what is Dineros doing out there in the ocean? Well, I'm out here having a good time, chilling, jokes. I'm actually out here covering the 2019 Vanagi Race. That's right, Vanagi Race. Now I hear Vanagi means canoe in Motu. Sorry, I'm not from this side of the country, so I wouldn't know much about Motu. Yeah, so it means canoe racing. So today is actually the launch of the 2019 Vanagi Race down here in Port Moresby at Ela Beach, and we are actually about just 3 kilometers out of the beach, and currently we are in the third course of the Vanagi Race.
I, as Governor of our capital city, this day, or 10th of August, this Saturday, I hereby launch our race, part of Irimuale. Let's have a big race, let's have a competition, let's continue to honor our tradition. Thank you, Padre.
We've changed a few things with the organizing of the of the Irimuale Festival. You'll now notice we're calling it Motu Koita Festivals or Motu Koita Festivals, and we've started the events dating back to the music festival, because I feel that Motu and Koita people, we need to celebrate, preserve activities, honoring our traditions. We need to celebrate them over months and months throughout the year. We should not just wait till September to celebrate Irimuale when we acknowledge our traditions. We should be doing it throughout the whole year. Okay, so that is the reason why we've started with the music festival, and now we're doing a season of Vanagi Heau Helulu Race. So this is the start of something big. This is the start of something that I'd like to see grow, and I'm sure over the years it'll leave a very big impact on our community. But on that note, thank you very much to all the sponsors for participating, and most importantly to all the participants who will be contesting today's race.
All right, so this is actually a whole day event. Paus Pakop came out to the beach this morning along with his deputy, that's the president, chairman of the Motu Koita Assembly, Daddy Toka. They launched the event. There's a couple of people that turned up to see the event as well. Now, from what I hear, it will go on till the Irimuale Festival, and the competition itself will run. There's actually four races. It will happen fortnightly, and it will go on till September when the Irimuale Festival begins. The race started early for the canoe crews who had to make sure their canoes were ready ahead of the launch. Now, the 6 canoes that were present and took on the 16-course race over 3 kilometers from the beachfront and within the Fairfax Harbour for a good 7 hours are as follows: Somanada, Penekovu, Moale, Mami Dearest, Hanwamero, and Prince. Now, sails up, skipper and crew members on board the canoes set out at around mid-morning on Saturday. Hanwamero got off to a great start, staying in the lead for the first 4 courses, despite its sails not catching enough wind. But this was an open water sport, and anything can happen, especially when you're at the mercy of nature. So by the 8th course, Hanwamero lost edge during the process of making a turn, setting them back. Prince and Mami Dearest picked up pace just as the wind started picking up around mid-afternoon. Hey everyone, so we're now back at the shoreline here at Ela Beach, and we're waiting for all 6 canoes to come home. Now, in the meantime, we'll go over and meet the coordinator for the Motu Koita Vanagi Race. Follow me. Edu Boyo, is it?
Yes.
So nice to meet you.
Yes, thank you.
It's been a wonderful day.
Yeah, sure.
The launch of the Motu Koita Vanagi
Heau Helulu Association.
Okay.
Yeah.
Say it again.
Motu Koita Vanagi Heau Helulu Association.
Nice. So, as the coordinator, tell me, for the duration of the competition, the race, how many canoes will we be seeing out there every fortnight?
Well, we have a call for 20 canoes to participate, ranging from size 23 foot to 26. And because of the sizes of the canoes, the committee decided that we should have at least one sail size, which is about 16 by 10. However, today's race, we've included some bigger sails like 17-11, because those canoe owners don't have the sizes available with them. And the resolution was passed last week that we'll give them the chance to race this week. But for the second race, they have to come up with the 16-10 sail.
Now, of the 20 that should have been present for this launch, there were only 6 out there. Yes. Any particular reason for the absence of the others?
Yes, we've got 10 canoes registered for this race. Unfortunately, 4 have spoken out this morning that they'll come in on the second race because they're doing some maintenance work on it. So we still have another 10 spaces available for any top 10 canoes that can come in anytime next week. This particular race is open to villages starting from Gaba Gaba village all the way down to Manu Manu. So it's been initiated and compiled by Motu Koita Assembly.
It is now 5 p.m. and this is after the 16th course. We have the first canoe coming in first. That's Mami Dearest from Elevala, followed by Prince from Tubuseria, and the rest will follow soon afterwards. They're just further out from these 2 first canoes.
One more wave before I finish for the day. Liquid blue.
This has been the Motu Koita Vanagi Race 2019. We've come to the end of competition with Prince and Mami Dearest coming in as the first 2 canoes of the day. This is where we leave you. Sporting continues after these short messages.
Welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, you're watching Sports Scene. Over to volleyball, and Team Jamas are in the National Capital District Volleyball Association Men's Premier Finals after a nail-biting finish, a 3-2 win over EduTech Scorpions.
In the women's major semi-final, it was EduTech Scorpions who edged out MJ Electrical Yumiat 3-1 to secure their first grand final berth. Scorpions played a good control game while Yumiat made too many unforced errors and got punished for it.
Jamas booked the first seat in the 2019 NCDVA Men's Premier Division Grand Final on Saturday with a 3-2 win over EduTech Scorpions. EduTech Scorpions edged MJ Electrical Yumiat 3-1 in the Women's Premier Major Semi-Final and secured their first grand final berth. In the men's A-grade major semi-final results, EduTech Scorpions brushed aside MJ Electrical Yumiat 3-1. PTPSL Telecom were victorious 3-1 against MJ Electrical in the women's A-grade major semi-final. MJ Electrical Yumiat have their last chance to secure a grand final placing in the NCD Volleyball Association Women's Premier Division on Saturday at the Taurama Aquatic and Indoor Stadium. Scorpions will be up against the winner of Phoenix, while Yumiat faces defending and 3-time queens PTPSL Telecom in the preliminary finals. The men's premier will see EduTech Scorpions up against the winner of Vailima of Phoenix, who are going for a rematch after the result was disputed. MJ Electrical Yumiat will play Jamas in the men's A-grade preliminary finals, and Yumiat will be up against Phoenix in the women's A-grade preliminary finals. Teams on standby for the 2019 NCDVA Grand Finals are Jamas in the men's premier, EduTech Scorpions in the women's premier, EduTech Scorpions in the men's A-grade, and PTPSL Telecom in the women's A-grade.
Welcome back to the show. Now to some racket sports. And squash and tennis are looking to have more elite players going forward into the future. And the Racket Club in Port Moresby is taking the lead with a schools development program which students are really enjoying learning the basics of squash and tennis. The Rackets Club are hoping to get the students involved in a competition going forward to develop the sport.
The sport of squash and tennis is working towards a long-term growth of the sport.
The recent Pacific Games, the tennis did extremely well. But then now there is a gap between those elite players to who is the next group to represent PNG. So that's the goal for this junior development program is to start to expose the sport more to more children. They may not know that they've got the talent. We need to give them that opportunity. We're fortunate to have Babaroko, which is the community-based school. A lot of those kids won't afford to play, but if we give them that exposure to play, maybe there is 20 or even more talented kids out there to play the sport of squash or tennis.
The Rackets Club at Boroko in Port Moresby has opened its doors to students from 5 schools in the nation's capital. Squash and tennis is not a team sport like what Papua New Guineans are used to. It's about knowing the rules and handling the equipment.
So for the 2 schools that started off in Term 2, Bedwing and Boroko Primary School, we've seen that from where we started, the students are starting to understand a little bit more, and their hand-eye coordination is more from when they started off.
The coaches are also keen on coaching the children, but it's a technical sport and knowing how to use the rackets and hitting the ball to the right corners is important. The children are always eager to learn, and squash champion Madako Swari Jr., a Pacific Games medalist, is teaching them the basics.
I think for myself, I started off when I was young, so it goes to show that when you start young, you actually develop the sport better, and it becomes part of you, and you grow up with it. I mean, doesn't discourage those who want to try it a bit later. It's up to the individual. At the end of the day, if you do the hard work, you get the results you want.
For tennis, it's also hand-eye coordination, similar to squash.
The kids that are coming through, most of them are first-timers. They haven't played tennis before, so we're just trying to introduce them something new. Tennis, we're just introducing to them like the basic ideas of how to play tennis, hand-eye coordination.
For the students from Babaroko and Bedwing Independent School, this was the first time for some of them to try out squash and tennis.
When I came to squash, and the coaches said that you're good, so you must come every Saturday. Volley the ball, yes, of course, and like hitting it backward and like front.
I learned a new game that is called squash. I've never had it before, but when I came the first time that I came to try it, I learned it.
Even the teacher was happy with the students learning the new sport.
They were really enjoyed because this game is a new game that we teachers never teach in the school. So they were really enjoying.
This next story is about 20-year-old Epu Gipson, who only recently started playing hockey and says there isn't a sport like hockey that he enjoys much after he was given the opportunity to play in the men's B-grade division for the Sunam Club of the Port Moresby Hockey Association.
20-year-old Epu Gipson from Eastern Highlands, who only started playing hockey last year, says his disability is no barrier to playing hockey. He says when he is in the field, he feels no different to his fellow teammates. Gipson plays in the men's B-grade division for Team Sunam.
I must play on team this year. I'm a player. So okay, I'm good sports. We like him play.
He says he was welcomed with open arms by the club.
Thank you, Moresby Sunam Club. Like me, now Mr. 1 year this year.
Epu, who plays in the men's B grade division, says he doesn't see himself being disabled, but rather equal to his teammates and those that are around him.
It's great to see that sports, more and more sports are becoming inclusive. Not only the elite competitions, but like smaller competitions, town competitions, city competitions. Now we have hockey, letting Epu be part of the competition. It goes to show that, some of these people out there can actually take up sports and actually compete with able-bodied people and still fare well in it.
Yeah. Well, Epu Gipson is actually an inspiration to many people like him. Like playing in the B grade division, he's also gonna soon play A grade, and who knows, he can also make the PNG team. But Epu is actually, he's I think only his left side or his right side. So how he maneuvers around the hockey turf is just unbelievable, and to play with able-bodied people is actually really good for him.
Yeah, and let alone hockey is quite a fast-paced, very technical sport, and for him to be able to get out there and give it a go is just incredible.
And he's just young, he's just 20 years old, so yeah.
True.
Anyways, moving over to some NCD corporate volleyball, and the volleyball championships are set for November in Leh. The NCD Corporate Volleyball Competition is one association that is new to the PNG Volleyball Federation, only playing their first national championships last year in Port Moresby. Made up of public servants and the private sector, they are raring to improve their performance from last year's championships. Let's take a look.
The Port Moresby Corporate Volleyball Competition will be participating in the 2019 National Volleyball Championships in Leh, currently planned for November. POM Corporate Volleyball Competition, or POM CVC, is one of the newly established volleyball associations in Port Moresby and has grown over the last 2 years. The association has just recently completed its first finals for the season 3, and is now focusing on preparations for the national championships in Leh.
One of the biggest achievements we had was last year, where our men's team, although they performed, they came up runner-up in Tier 2, they'll be competing in Tier 1, which is where all the champions, including Vabukori, are in. So we are hoping that our boys put up a good performance. Ladies are still in Tier 2, but we are quietly confident of their achievement this year.
Kina Bank was the first organization that has come on board with a sponsorship of 5,000 Kina to help POM CVC attend the championships in Leh. A check was presented by the company's General Manager for Corporate Affairs and Investor Relations, Mr. Gavin Hurd, and received by Association Vice President Mr. Henry Aika.
Anything that keeps Papua New Guineans healthy, I think is a terrific cause to support. So I would certainly imagine that we'll be supporting this into the future. And of course I wish them all the best, all participants, all the best in November in Leh.
Sponsorship of 5,000 is a great assistance to us, because this is our first time that we'll be flying out of Moresby. We just joined in Port Moresby Volleyball Federation last year, and we took part in the championship last year in Moresby. But because we are flying out, we need all the assistance we can get from the corporate organizations. And we're very thankful that Kina is coming good with the 5,000 Kina.
POM CVC is made up of about 52 corporate teams, both from the private and government sector, that take part in Sunday volleyball games at the Tauranga Aquatic and Indoor Stadium.
When you're at work, you're all focused on work. There's no time for training. Most of us, we do, administrative work, so we get to sit a lot. So weekends we come out, not just staff, players, but we bring our families along, have a good time, mix and mingle, network with friends from other companies at this venue, and then when it's Monday, it's back to work, and then we look forward to the next weekend again.
An industry challenge was created for the teams during the Queen's Birthday long weekend this year. During the challenge, players were selected from these 52 teams and put into 4 different categories according to their organizational specialities. The categories included the banks, government departments, statutory authorities, and the private sector. Players were then selected from the above tournament to make up the POM CVC train-on squad for the national championships in Lae.
Our selection was done on a competition we called Industrial Challenge, and we selected 26 men and 26 women. We will be taking a maximum of 14 men and 14 women to the national championship in Lae.
The competition is looking to improve on their performance in the last championships from last year in Port Moresby.
From last year, we are ranked in Tier 2 of the National Volleyball Championships. This year, we want to take a stronger team to Lae and make sure we move from Tier 2 to Tier 1. So that in 2020, we'll be up against teams like Fairfax and NCDVA in the women's category.
Yeah, it's great to see a lot of these corporate houses, people in the offices especially going out there and, staying fit. Obviously, one of the main reasons for them to, come together in corporate sports is basically to build a network and everything. But if in volleyball, so far I've seen, it's starting to get competitive. They're now getting into the championships as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be their second year now competing at the national championships. And the national championships is where those really, really good players go to participate, take part in, and corporate volleyball, NCD corporate volleyball, and to make things more interesting, these are people in the public sector or private sector taking part, and they're actually keeping very fit. I think I have to go and take part, but I don't know, I'm just too short for volleyball, so we'll just see. We'll just see about that. Anyway, we'll head out for a few short messages and we'll be back with more of sports.
Welcome back. You're watching Sports In. Unfortunately, this is the last segment. This is where we wrap up things here on Sports Scene. But before we go, Elijah, what are you covering this weekend? I hear there's a number of things happening, and I'm sure you have some updates for us for the Hunters as well.
Yeah, the SP Hunters will be playing their last home match this weekend at the Oil Search National Football Stadium. So everyone here in Port Moresby, please grab a ticket and go support the Hunters, even though we didn't do good this season. But I'm pretty sure, everyone just go out there, support the SP Hunters and, cheer them on. Also, the POM AFL is heading into its finals. So that's also coming up, and also other...
Tarama Aquatic Center, NCDVA will be going into the second major semi-final, and the winner will be meeting the winner from last week in the coming week. So that's that. PMSA, they're also heading into elimination rounds in the next few weeks. I think Elijah would have a lot more information on that. Do you know anything about the PMSA elimination rounds?
PMSA, yes, they completed round 6, 7, and 8 last weekend, and yes, they'll also be heading into their finals. There's a lot coming up in football as well. We have the under-19s who will be under-19 women's who will be traveling to take part in the OFC Championships. Also, the National Club Championships is set to take place soon. So yeah.
You forgot to mention the Kumuls and Broncos game.
Oh yes, the Kumuls Legends will be taking on the Broncos Legends here in Port Moresby. Also, the Broncos NRL women's team will be taking on the PNG Orchids at the Oil Search National Football Stadium on Saturday, the 31st of this month, on the 31st of August at the Oil Search National Football Stadium. So tickets are already on sale. You can head on down to Brian Bell, Waterfront, or cool stuff to grab yourself a ticket. You don't want to miss this. Also, coming up later on in Rugby League is the Great Britain Lions Tour. We'll be bringing you an interview with the Southern Hemisphere, RLI of Southern Hemisphere manager, next week in next week's show. So yeah.
There you go, something to look forward to. Now, apart from what we've mentioned, take a look at what's coming up this weekend.
And that's about it for tonight's show, but if you'd like us to cover any sporting event, you can contact us or send us an email at sports@emtv.com.pg or message us on our Facebook page, that's Sports Scene on Facebook, and we'll be more than willing to help you out.
Or you can call us on 312-9200 and ask for one of us here at the sports team. I think that's all for now.
Yes, that's about it. And you can join us same time, same place next week. It's good night from both of us here.